Stella's Happily Ever After. A long time ago, in a village in a European kingdom, lived a girl named Stella. She lived with her stepmother, Diana, and stepsister, Jennifer. After her father's death, Stella's stepmother used to treat her like a servant. Her meals consisted of stale leftovers, and she wore only her stepsister's second-hand clothes. One day, there was an announcement made in the kingdom. The prince was looking for a bride to marry. For that purpose, the king was organizing a grand ball. All the young maidens were invited to come to the palace and attend the ball. Stella's stepmother, Diana, and her stepsister, Jennifer, were excited to hear this news. Darling Jennifer, now it's time for you to lose weight. If you want to get married to the prince, your looks must be your top priority. Now, where is this wretched girl? Make haste, Stella. Yes, Mother, coming. It is your job to serve Jennifer food now. First, get the quantity approved by me, then serve it. Understood? You have to take good care of her. You get it in your head or not? Yes, Mother. Got it. I have to ensure that Jennifer looks her best for the prince's ball. Stella, go fetch our shoes. We have to step out to make purchases. Stella quickly goes and fetches their shoes. The two set off on their shopping excursion. Stella wishes she could go to the ball as well. Mother, can I please accompany you to the ball as well? I promise I will be inconspicuous and stand right behind everyone. Not at all. Never in 1,000 years. We're not taking you with us. Don't let that thought even enter your head. Do you understand? I'm getting too big for our boots, are we? Mother and daughter set off to buy costumes and other items to prepare for Prince Robert's ball. Poor Stella quietly goes inside and feels dejected. She sits by the window and starts sobbing. Her teardrops fall on a lily flower in a pot near the window. A pretty fairy appears in front of her.
What's the matter, my child? Why are you so sad?
Who are you? Who?
My name is Lily. I'm a flower fairy. Come now, tell me. Why are you crying?
Stella narrates her woes to Lily. There's only 1 week left for the prince's ball. My sister Jennifer is attending the ball, but I've been denied permission to do so.
Stella, my child, don't you worry. I will help you get ready for the ball.
But my fairy godmother, I don't even have decent clothes to wear. When people see me dressed up like this, they will laugh at my appearance.
Stella, by God's grace, you are a beautiful girl. As for dressing up, leave that task to me.
The fairy brought a new ray of hope into Stella's life. The night of the prince's ball finally arrived.
Stella, we are leaving for the ball. Take care of the house. And for goodness sake, don't eat up all the food. You seem to be quite hungry lately. By the time we return, the house should be spick and span. Make sure of that.
You go ahead and have a nice time. When you come back, you will find the house squeaky clean. Jennifer and Diana leave for the ball. Stella rushes towards the flower and splashes some drops of water on it. Lily appears again.
Stella, you look radiant.
All that hard work you do has kept you looking fit and glowing. I hope so. But what do I do about my costume and shoes? Even my hair is not styled properly.
Didn't I promise you that was my department?
The fairy encircles her sparkling star magic wand over Stella's head. Stella has a complete makeover. Long flowing tresses, a crystal-embellished gown, head-turning shoes, and soft, silky gloves that felt like clouds to the hand. When Stella looks at herself in the mirror, she is astounded. Is this really me? I can't believe this is real.
I have only changed your clothes and shoes.
The radiance on your face has always been there. The reality is that you are an extremely beautiful girl. Fairy Godmother, thank you immensely. I hope I won't be late for the ball.
Don't worry about that. I've made arrangements for that as well.
Stella's transformation is complete, and now she steps out of the house. A beautiful carriage driven by white horses is waiting for her outside. She gets inside and sets off to the ball. The palace is filled with many girls who have come to attend the ball. Prince Robert is sitting on a throne, placed at the top of the stairs. Stella catches the prince's eye, and he descends down the stairs to approach her.
May I have this dance with you?
Of course you may. It will be my pleasure. Robert and Stella dance together. The other girls look at them with envy. The king and queen, on the other hand, are extremely pleased to see them together. In their hearts, they know that their son has found his future bride. Also watching this are Stella's stepmother and sister, who leave the palace in a fit of anger and jealousy. Stella sees them leave and begins to get uneasy. She knows that if she doesn't reach home before them, she will have a heavy price to pay. Stella hurriedly pulls away from the prince, leaving one of her gloves behind in the prince's hands. She hops onto the carriage and leaves. As soon as she reaches home, she transforms back into her old self. She quickly gets busy in cleaning the house. After a while, there's a knock on the door.
Have you lost your hearing? I have knocked twice already.
Forgive me, Mother. I was cleaning the house. Maybe that's why I didn't hear you knocking.
You call this cleaning? Half the house is still dirty. Till you finish this and get the house to looking sparkling clean, you won't get dinner tonight. We are already quite hassled right now. Don't you dare say a word.
Stella is secretly thrilled at their being upset, and yet she is sad that she did not get to spend enough time with the prince. The next day, it is announced that the prince wants to meet the girl who has the other glove that can match the one that was left behind. Stella splashes some drops of water on the flowers again. When Lily appears, Stella narrates the whole story to her.
Is that all? This time when you meet him, make sure he is yours forever.
The fairy does her magic and transforms Stella back into her glamorous version. Stella climbs onto the carriage without realizing that her stepmother Diana and stepsister Jennifer are hiding at the back of the carriage. They reach the palace where the prince sees Stella with a glove in her hand. On realizing it is the same girl from before, he rushes to embrace her. The prince then proposes marriage to Stella. Diana and Jennifer go green with envy on hearing this. Stella's face lights up with pure joy. Lily the fairy watches the scene from the sky and smiles happily. Prince Robert and Stella get married in a grandiose ceremony. They lived happily ever after.
A long time ago, a king named Bhima ruled over his kingdom. He was sincere and proactive. If there was ever any problem, he would try to resolve it quickly. However, his queen was sad because they had no children of their own. The king was aware of her quiet melancholy. Soon enough, word got around, and people in the kingdom started gossiping about the couple's unhappiness over not being parents yet. The king would never share his sadness with anyone, nor would he let it take over his professional duties. One day, a hermit approached the king and said, "My king, I have traveled a long way to meet you. I've wandered around in each and every village in your kingdom. You have managed to keep everyone happy, except yourself. I have come here to give you a basket. This is no ordinary basket. Anything you place in it will become double in quantity." The king went and repeated everything to the queen.
Are you sure this is for real? Will it really make things double in number?
That's what the hermit said. To be honest, I'm finding it difficult to believe that myself. Is this really a magical basket? The queen removed one of her bangles and placed it inside the basket. It turned into 2 identical bangles. The king and queen were thrilled. This meant that there would never be any deficit in their kingdom. They would always rule in a state of abundance. But yet, the king and queen were not completely content with their lives. They still yearned for an offspring. After a few days, the gatekeeper approached the king and said, "My king, a man named Bola is requesting for permission to see you. He is accompanied by his wife, Suleika, and a newborn baby." The king approved his entry. Bola folded his hands to display his respect for the king and said, "My king, we know you long for a child. We would like you to take our child. Please consider yourselves to be his parents from now on." Before the king could respond, the queen rushed to take the child from Suleika's arms and embraced it. She started thanking the couple profusely. The king watched all this silently. He was busy observing Bola and Suleika. Their faces looked composed, but he could sense an underlying pain in their eyes. "My queen, please return the child back to its parents. We will manage to stay childless, but it is not fair to separate a child from his parents." On hearing this, Bola and his wife folded their hands and started pleading with the king. Suleika said,
Please, accept this child as your own. I beg of you.
The king and queen were shocked to see a mother so desperate to give away her own child. "Why do you want us to take your child? Nowhere in the world will a mother give away her child, not at any cost. And here you are, calmly volunteering to do so. Tell me the real reason." Bola explained. "Here is the reason. We have been cursed. If we don't give away our baby to a childless couple in 12 days, by the 13th day, our baby will cease to live. My king, today counts as the 12th day since he was born. Please do us a favor and accept this child as your own. We don't want him to die." You go ahead and rest for a while. We will let you know our decision soon." The king walks to a secluded spot in the garden. The queen follows, baby in hand. She observes the king and finds him to be in distress.
How can you not be happy for this day? The Lord has finally blessed us with a child. This couple is willingly giving us their child. We never asked them to. Instead of being ecstatic, you are unnecessarily getting worried.
My very own people will part with their own child and spend the rest of their lives in misery missing him. How can I possibly be happy when someone else is in pain? The queen started contemplating about this. Then she spoke.
My king, why don't we place this child in the magical basket? That way, we will have 2 children instead of 1. We will keep this child to save him, and the other one can be raised by Bola and Suleika.
As soon as he heard this, his face lit up with a glow of happiness. I never even thought of this. Come, my queen, let us take this child back inside. The basket is in the palace. You can place him in it. We will have 2 babies instead of 1. The king and queen rushed back inside to where the basket was kept. The queen placed the child in the basket. Now there were 2 babies instead of 1 in the basket. The king picked up the second child, and the queen picked up the original baby. They went back to Bola and his wife. The king spoke. Here, you can take your child back. Bola and his wife looked at the king in disappointment. The king explained how the magical basket worked in solving their problem. He then said, "You can keep this child. The one who is cursed is the one the queen is holding. This child is now safe. You can take him with you, okay?" Bola and his wife finally understood the situation. "You are a great man, my king. You did not consider your own happiness on gaining a child. Rather, you were more concerned about our unhappiness on losing a child. We are the fortunate ones to live under the shelter of your gracious hand."
You adopted our child to release him from the curse, but you also ensured that we did not lose our child. Our noble king and queen, we can only repay you with our undying respect.
Bola and Suleika took the child and went back home, thankful and relieved. The king and queen were equally thankful on finally being blessed with a child. The child grew up to be a brave and good-natured prince. They all lived together to have a long and happy life. The end.
Once upon a time, there was a king by the name of Kawar Pal. He had 4 wives, Bhairavi, Bhanumati, Sunanda, and Gayatri. Out of these 4, the king was most fond of Bhairavi. One day, the king decided to go hunting. He discussed his plan with his wife, Bhairavi.
"Darling, I'm in the mood to go hunting today. But not alone. I want you to accompany me. I want to spend the whole day with you."
That's an excellent idea, dear king. I haven't stepped out of the palace in a while. It will uplift my mood if I go outside with you. Just give me some time to get ready.
Bhairavi had a kind and soft heart. She did not approve of her husband killing an innocent animal for sport. Before they left for their hunting trip, Bhairavi went to the carriage and took away all the arrows from the king's quiver. After some time, they reached the jungle. Bhairavi told her husband, Kawar Pal,
What an enchanting forest! Look at the greenery all around, and the melodious sound of so many birds and animals. My heart is singing with joy. Why do you kill these innocent creatures just for fun? I don't like it one bit.
Hunting has been a royal sport for ages. It is a matter of pride for the brave and the champions. The bigger the animal, the better. Bhairavi, just so that you know, I only hunt animals that are aggressive and will attack. The reason behind this is to keep our people safe from getting hurt.
Bhairavi was trying her best to engage the king in her sweet talk. That way he would get distracted and miss spotting any animal at all. Suddenly they heard the growl of a tiger.
My queen, there is a tiger around us here. Be very careful. I was so engrossed in your sweet words that I forgot I was here to hunt. I'm going to go after this tiger.
The king picked up his bow first, and then his quiver. He was shaken up to find it empty. The tiger came closer to the carriage. The king kept the bow down and got off the carriage to engage in a manual fight with the tiger. The king was a fearless man. He launched a fierce attack on the tiger. After a long and grueling fight, the king finally succeeded in defeating the tiger. But in the process, he was badly injured. When Bhairavi returned to the palace with the injured king, no one could believe that it was even possible for King Kawar Pal to get hurt on a hunting trip. He was a skilled hunter who had always won. The first person to question Bhairavi was Bhanumati.
How did all this even happen? How did the king manage to get hurt while hunting?
Queen Bhairavi explained.
I can't see poor innocent animals being killed for no reason. That's why today, just before we left for the hunt, I emptied his quiver of all the arrows.
After listening to this, Queen Gayatri responded.
Are you telling me you put your husband's life at risk just to save an animal? What kind of a wife are you? You are aware of how much he loves hunting, don't you? And yet, you put your stubborn beliefs over his wish? What kind of love is this that pushes your own husband towards his grave?
Bhairavi had always looked up to Queen Gayatri. Her words pierced through Bhairavi's heart, and she was immediately regretful. The king's health had started deteriorating. Queen Bhairavi defended herself.
You can blame me all you like. But first, please let us focus on the king's health.
Queen Sunanda finally spoke up.
There is only one doctor who is an expert in healing animal-related wounds. But he lives 50 kilometers away from here. It will take him a while to get here.
Queen Bhairavi had some basic knowledge of potions and medicinal herbs. She came up with a suggestion.
Call the doctor quickly. In the meantime, I myself will prepare medicine for his wounds.
Bhairavi started preparing medicine for the king. She took some herbs, leaves, bark, and roots and created a medicinal paste to apply to the king's wounds. But the paste only made things worse. The king's temperature rose instantly to be much higher than before. The other 3 queens lost their temper at Bhairavi. They scolded her for her attempt at healing him.
What is it that you want? Do you want him to die? We were under the assumption you were trying to make the king feel better. But your medicine has made his health worse.
If you didn't have the right knowledge about making the medicine, why did you even try to make this useless paste? Why have you put his life even further in danger? You knew the doctor was going to arrive anytime soon, didn't you? Only God knows what will happen now.
The doctor finally arrived. He did a thorough physical examination of the king. He then declared,
The king is perfectly fine now. Who has prepared this paste that is applied to his wounds?
Everyone took Bhairavi's name and pointed at her. Then Queen Gayatri spoke.
If the king is perfectly fine, why is his body temperature rising consistently?
The doctor explained.
The paste makes the body warmer first. That's how the medicine works in removing the toxins present in the wounds made by the tiger. Yes, it is a slow remedy. It takes time, but it does the job wonderfully.
After listening to the doctor, the 3 queens thanked Bhairavi for her timely help. The king recovered completely in a matter of days. Queen Bhairavi shared her feelings with him.
Forgive me, my king. You had to pay a heavy price on your health because of my opinions regarding hunting animals. You like hunting, I don't. I feel very sad when I see innocent creatures being killed for fun. For that, I should have refused to accompany you on your hunting trip. I should not have removed the arrows from your quiver.
Your actions may have been wrong, but your intentions were never wrong. If you feel so strongly about me not hunting and showing mercy to these innocent creatures, then I will abide. I promise you that I will only kill an animal if it is violent and a threat to my people.
There are times when wives will take extreme steps just to make their husbands leave a bad habit. It is important for husbands to listen to them and analyze the motives behind their actions. If something is discussed logically and works for our own benefit, there is no harm in agreeing to it.
Lightning, fairy, and water. Many, many eons ago, there was a time when no humans existed on Earth. The Earth's surface was barren and filled with cracks. From the heavens, the scenery on Earth looked terrible. Fairies and goddesses shuddered looking at it and thought it was just as bad as hell. One fine day, a group of fairies look down at Earth and have a discussion. The red fairy and the green fairy are talking amongst themselves.
Eeks! What a strange-looking place this Earth is. Is it possible for anyone to even live there? You're absolutely right. Not a soul would want to live there. Not a patch of green, so drab and colorless. No amusement, and not a single one of our kind living there.
After hearing this, the fairy mother approaches them and says, "You should not say such things. If that's how everyone thinks, life will never begin on Earth."
But Mother, who would possibly want to go live in such a strange-looking place?
Somebody has to go there and commence the cycle of life. It may even have to be one of us. The fairies get back to doing their own thing. The lightning fairy and the water fairy are busy playing a game. In spite of the fairy mother asking them to stop playing many times, they continue to do so. Lightning fairy, both of you are now mature enough to understand that you need to help your other sisters in their chores. Water fairy, you better follow this too. In any case, the fairy queen is keeping an eye on you.
Why should we work when there are so many people already doing it? The lightning fairy is right. Now, Mother, please go and let us play.
The fairy queen is passing by and happens to hear this conversation. She gets upset and scolds the fairy mother. "This is the result of your pampering and spoiling them. See how high-handed they have become." "Please forgive them, Fairy Queen. They will improve with age. They are still very young and playful."
Mother is right. It's our age to play. Fairy Queen, come on, join in our games. It will be fun.
You better handle your daughters soon. This bond of theirs may not be able to save them for long. Yes, my queen. This will not happen again. The fairy queen leaves, upset and irritated. Did you see how upset she was? I appreciate this bond of sisterhood between the two of you, but you have to realize you're growing up and have responsibilities just like everyone else.
Oh, Mother, there you go off again. Come, sister, let's go somewhere far away. Otherwise, our mother will never stop giving her sermons.
After saying this, the two fairies vanish from there. The dejected fairy mother goes back to her palace. A few days later, a demon attacks the kingdom of heaven. He tramples over all the flower beds as he stomps ahead.
What fun to smash these flowers. I'm sure I will enjoy smashing the fairies here twice as much.
On hearing the commotion, all the fairies come out of the palace.
What an enormous demon! Why is he here, Mother? I'm feeling very scared.
Don't worry, children. We can defeat him with the power of our magic wands.
But Mother, he is huge. I can't even look at him. I'm so scared.
Nothing will ever come out of fear, children. We must be brave and fight him. The demon hears this and laughs.
You and your little tiny fairies can't defeat me. It's better if you leave heaven for good. I'm going to rule this place now.
You fool! Forget you! There's not another single being that can snatch our homes away from us. Come on, fight us if you can. A battle begins between the demon and the fairies. After a while, tired of resisting the demon, the fairies weaken and begin to collapse.
What happened, little fairies? Is that the best your magical powers can do?
We will never let you win. This is our home, and will always remain our home. On hearing the battle cries, the fairy queen, along with the other fairies, comes rushing out of her palace. The losing battle is now won, thanks to the immense magical powers of the fairy queen. When the fairy queen becomes aware of the fact that both the lightning and water fairies were not present to help in the battle, she becomes furious. Now do you understand? In spite of my many warnings, these two have failed to be responsible. Now, no one can save them from my curse. Don't do that, please. I beg of you, Fairy Queen. They will bear the consequences of their actions. That's my decision, and my word is final here. At that moment, the Lightning Fairy and the Water Fairy enter, laughing and oblivious of what has happened. When they look around, they are taken aback.
What happened here, Mother? Was there a storm? Why are you silent, Mother? Tell me, what's happened here?
You're going to feel the storm very soon. You both are going to be punished for your mistake.
But we haven't done anything wrong. Why punish us?
Hearing this, the Fairy Mother starts crying. No, please forgive them, Fairy Queen. In the future, they will behave more maturely. They will be punished for sure, and this is their punishment. From today onwards, the two sisters will be separated for eternity. The Water Fairy will live on Earth. The Lightning Fairy will live here in the heavens, but in seclusion, away from the other fairies. Hearing this, all the fairies start sobbing.
Please forgive us. We will never repeat our mistake again.
My curse cannot be taken back. This is your punishment to suffer. From that day onwards, the Water Fairies started living and flowing on Earth. The Lightning Fairy lived in heaven, lonely and silent. After being separated, the two sisters would cry all the time. One day, the Lightning Fairy tells the Fairy Mother,
Mother, I'm missing my sister a lot today. I wonder how she must be surviving on that horrid Earth.
All the fairies, including the Fairy Mother, plead to the Fairy Queen. Fairy Queen, you are a mother as well. Please understand another mother's anguish. Please forgive the two fairies. I beg of you.
Fairy Queen, please be merciful. Forgive them. All of us miss them.
I made a mistake. In my anger, I lashed out at their youth and innocence. Unfortunately, I can't take the curse back, but I can reduce its intensity. How so? Whenever the Lightning Fairy will miss her sister immensely, she will be allowed to go down to Earth and become one with the Water Fairy. The love of the two sisters will be so touching and emotional, even clouds will shed tears at their reunion. Thank you. We fairies are forever grateful to you for that. And so it goes. The cycle of lightning striking water and becoming one with it began that day. The clouds shed tears, enraptured by the love between the two sisters. Earth was no longer barren. It became flushed with greenery, and living creatures finally called it their beautiful home. The end. Little Prince and His Friend. This story begins in the kingdom of Feroznagar. The king and queen of Feroznagar decide to go out for a carriage ride, leaving their 12-year-old son, Angad Kumar, back at the palace. Suddenly, the horse slips, and the king and queen fall off the carriage, and unfortunately, pass away. The young Prince Angad has to now bear the responsibility of ruling over the kingdom by himself. There is one minister who is not happy about this situation.
Now that the king and queen are no more, the prince is burdened by this huge responsibility. The throne of Prince Angad is nothing but a cover-up. I will actually be the one who will be in charge. I can levy a heavy tax on the citizens of this kingdom and make my own profits.
The chief minister calls a meeting of the other ministers. Prince Angad is crowned the ruler of the kingdom in a ceremony attended by the public. The citizens are happy with this decision. Long live King Angad! Long live King Angad!
Hear, hear, Chief of Security. Gather all the other members of the court. Yes, Chief Minister. You asked us to come? Yes, I did. King Angad is too young to take on any important decisions of his own. Whatever decisions I take will now be considered important and final. That too, without any opposition from anyone else. If you protest, I have the authority to sentence you to death as well.
The other ministers had no choice but to nod their heads and agree. Now, the chief minister summoned King Angad's nanny and caretaker.
Yes, Chief Minister. What is your command?
You have to take special care of King Angad. Make sure he never has any dearth of anything. Also, he should attend the court sessions as little as possible.
The nanny used to take good care of King Angad. She had a 15-year-old son called Vija, who would accompany her at all times. Vija was a good playmate for King Angad. Her son Vija was very sharp and equally caring when it came to King Ungud's needs.
How do you manage to be so skilled at fencing? Have you been taught by a professional?
No, my king. I have not been taught by anyone. I have taught myself from observing the guards.
Will you teach me as well?
Yes, why not? I will teach you everything.
Slowly and patiently, Vija taught King Ungud everything he knew. Their friendship strengthened over time. The chief minister, on the other hand, used the guise of King Ungud's orders to make an announcement.
Hear one, hear all, people of the kingdom. King Ungud has ordered you to pay this year's taxes in advance.
How can King Ungud pass such an order? Our kingdom has been reeling under a drought for 2 years. We don't have any trade. How will we pay taxes now?
I have merely conveyed King Ungud's orders. Those who do not fulfill it will be sentenced to death.
The people start discussing this issue with each other.
Our former king was so understanding and benevolent. After his death and King Ungud's crowning, our woes have multiplied rapidly. Yes, but how is this ever going to work? We need to discuss this with King Ungud.
Meanwhile, in the palace, King Ungud and Vija are busy with their sporting activity. Vija takes a break and reaches the royal courthouse. He observes the chief minister hitting a local with a stick. He overhears the chief minister talking.
You thought you could come here and meet King Ungud and expose my plans? Are you not aware that he is king just for show? I'm going to be the real ruler of this kingdom. Only me.
The chief minister then gives a command.
Take him away and lock him up.
Vija overhears everything, and he goes and repeats everything to his mother.
Mother, are you aware of what's happening here? The chief minister is committing injustice under the name of King Ungud.
Yes, my son, I'm already aware of this. But what can we possibly do? If we inform King Ungud about this, and the chief minister gets a whiff of it, we will both be sentenced to death.
But mother, I can't allow this to happen to our people. I will tell King Ungud everything, because I'm his true friend.
Vija and King Ungud are playing inside the palace. Vija pushes King Ungud, and he falls to the ground. King Ungud talks to Vija.
Vija, my dear friend, why did you do that? Why did you push me? See, I've hurt myself now.
I didn't do anything.
You are elder than me, and yet you pushed me. Look, I've hurt myself. This is injustice, isn't it? Vija, what do you mean when you say that injustice is happening with our people?
Vija then goes on to explain all the wrongdoings happening with the people of the kingdom. Then Vija says,
King Ungud, let's disguise ourselves and go out at night to understand the public sentiment.
You are absolutely right. Let's do this tonight.
King Ungud and Vija go out and mingle with the public. A group of people are talking.
How do we go out and meet King Ungud? His whole cabinet of ministers is corrupt. To top that, if you want to meet a minister, even guards demand money. Where do we get so much money from?
King Ungud and Vija start talking to the group of people.
I am King Ungud. Tell me your problems, please. I have come here under disguise only to understand your problems.
All the people talk to King Ungud about their individual problems. King Ungud is shocked after listening to the revelations. He assures the public that things will improve from here on and that he will personally take charge. The next day, King Ungud makes an appearance at court.
Chief Minister, please assemble all the guards.
Yes, my king.
Your kingship, what is your command?
King Ungud gives the orders to the other guards.
Guards, thrash these corrupt guards so hard till the skin falls off their bones.
No, don't hurt us. Please don't hurt us. We haven't done anything wrong.
You stopped my public from meeting me. Not only that, you took money from them. You took bribes.
No, my king. We were ordered by the chief minister to do that. If we didn't follow, he would have sentenced us to death.
No, King Ungud, I didn't do that. They're making up lies.
Guards, arrest this corrupt minister and beat him up till he grovels in pain.
King Ungud makes an announcement to the public. Everyone is exempt from paying taxes till the monsoon arrives. Vija tells him,
We need to ensure our cabinet consists strictly of honest ministers. Also, we need to start touring our neighboring countries to build better relations. That way, we can avoid wars and conflict.
King Ungud and Vija set off to their neighboring countries with a team of honest ministers. They extend a hand of friendship to the existing rulers. The kingdom is governed in an efficient and transparent manner. The people finally get to lead a peaceful and happy life.
If you enjoyed this story, please like and subscribe our channel and press the bell icon to get future updates. And don't forget to comment.
A regretful princess. A long time ago, on a stormy day in the palace of Maharaja of Maharashtra, a little princess called Garima was born. To express their unbridled happiness, the king and queen distributed gold, silver, gems, and pearls to the people in their kingdom. Time passed by, and Garima turned 6 years old. One day, she made a strange demand to her mother.
Mother, I want you to bring me the moon and stars.
Oh, my dear Garima,
Have you lost your mind? How is it possible for anyone to pluck the stars from the sky?
the king came out of his room just then.
Don't you fret, my darling. You want the stars? I'll send my minister right now to get them for you.
At the king's command, the minister goes and fetches some paper stars. After receiving them, Princess Garima is thrilled beyond measure.
Thank you, Father. You are the best. You never let me down.
My king, your pampering has spoiled her. God knows how she will turn out to be in the future.
That's not the case. The older she grows, the more mature she will turn out to be.
Finally, the day arrived when the princess turned 16, and yet there was no noticeable change in her attitude or habits. She continued to lash out at the maids and insult them. She treated them as if they were inhuman. One day, a maid came to Garima's room with a bowl of kheer, a milky dessert.
Long live the princess. The queen has sent this kheer for you. She has asked you to consume it while it is still warm. All right, put it down and leave. I'll eat it in a while. Forgive my insolence, but the queen has specifically asked you to eat it now.
Garima gets offended and throws the kheer straight at the maid's face.
Who on earth are you to tell me what to do? Get out of here.
On hearing the loud commotion, the king and queen enter Garima's room and understand the scenario.
What is this obnoxious behavior, Garima? Is this how you treat the maid? Exactly, mother. She is a maid. She can't talk to me in a raised voice.
Listen to me, my princess. Calm down. This maid will now be shown the way to the door.
Bravo, my king. What a great way to teach her right from wrong. If fathers ever were tolerated such indespicable behavior from their daughters, the future of womankind doesn't have any hope left. Oh, come on, mother. Stop being so preachy. Do me a favor and get this maid out of my sight.
After this altercation, Garima storms out of the palace in her carriage to let off some steam. There is a rumbling in the sky, and within minutes, thunder and lightning bring forth a heavy storm. The kingdom is caught in a deluge, and the rivers start flooding. The whole kingdom gets battered by this storm. The kingdom is in bad shape because of the storm. I really hope Garima is safe right now.
I hope so too. My poor baby must be stuck somewhere. I'm getting very worried. Ministers, go quickly and search for my princess.
Yes, my king. Soldiers, get ready. We have to go find the princess.
When the storm subsides, the minister sets out with the soldiers to hunt for Princess Garima. Even after 2 days, the princess is nowhere to be found. Unsuccessful in their mission, they make their way back to the palace.
You came back, minister? Where's my daughter, Garima? Is she still upset with us?
Forgive me, my queen. We have been unsuccessful in tracing the princess.
What do you mean? You couldn't complete a simple task? You don't deserve to be my minister.
I will accept whatever punishment you think I deserve, but the plain truth is that the princess is not to be found anywhere. I wonder if she is alive at all. A lot of people have all died because of the floods. Their faces are unidentifiable because of the swollen bodies.
After hearing this, the queen faints and falls down. The king starts crying unconsolably. Princess Garima gets swept away in the floods, and the river carries her to the village where her former maid resides, the same one she insulted so terribly.
Why is a crowd gathered near the banks of the river? Let me go and see as well.
On spotting Princess Garima, the maid instantly recognizes her.
Princess Princess! It's me, your maid! Open your eyes, Princess!
Do you recognize her?
Yes! It's our Princess Garima! It looks like she has been swept away in the floods and landed up here. But why is she not talking?
She seems to have passed out. Once the water is extracted out of her body, she'll come to her senses. Take her to your house.
I surely will. Please help me to transport her to my house.
The villagers help to transfer the princess to the maid's house. The maid goes to call the local doctor.
Doctor, please come quickly with me. Our princess is lying unconscious at my house. You have to make her okay no matter what.
Yes, my child. I'm coming with you. Let me grab my medicine.
The doctor accompanies the maid to her house and extracts the water from the body of the princess. He also makes the princess consume a plant extract.
Don't worry, she will regain consciousness in some time. While we wait, could I have a cup of tea, please? I'll take my leave after that.
Yes, of course, Doctor.
The maid hands the doctor a cup of tea.
Could I say something?
Yes, Doctor.
You have a golden opportunity here. You can demand as much money as you wish for from the king and the queen. After all, you have saved their darling princess.
How can you say something like that? Bite the hand that feeds you. I could never do something like that. Now, if you're done, please leave.
The princess comes to her senses and overhears the conversation. She is consumed by regret.
What have I done? I've committed a sin by degrading such an honest and sincere girl.
The maid turns out to find the princess standing up.
Long live the princess! I'm so happy to see that you have recovered now. Please forgive me. I behaved very rudely with you. I put you down. You have saved my life. I can never repay this favor. I merely performed my duty, Princess. The king and queen have always been kind to me. Please don't worry about anything. You need to eat food, have your medicines, and rest for a while. You really need the rest.
The maid cooked and offered all sorts of food to Garima.
What yummy food, just like the food cooked by our royal chefs.
After her meals and medicines, Princess Garima proceeds to rest. The following day, the maid's neighbor visits her house.
I saw you at the jeweler shop yesterday. Buying some jewelry, are we? How can I afford any jewelry? After I was fired from the royal palace, I have not been able to source even 2 meals in a day. Maybe my eyes were playing tricks on me. Not really. I did go to the jeweler's shop, but not to buy any jewelry. I had gone to sell my earrings. But what dire need made you sell them? Actually, I needed the money to buy food for the princess. She's not used to regular boring foods like us. I decided to offer her a variety of dishes. Oh, so that's what it is.
Princess Garima overheard this conversation as well. Meanwhile, the king and queen arrive at the maid's house, accompanied by the doctor.
You have invited death by kidnapping our princess. Where are you hiding? Show your face.
The maid and the princess come outside on hearing the king's voice.
Father, you are here. We are ecstatic to see you alive. Thank God the maid has not harmed you in any way. My queen, how can I ever harm our own princess?
Be quiet. If the doctor hadn't given us this news in exchange for a reward, we wouldn't have had a clue about the whereabouts of our only child.
Calm down, father. The doctor is greedy and not worthy of the praise you have been showering on him. In spite of tempting her, this honest maid did not waver. Not only that, she sold her own jewelry to arrange food for me. Is that the truth, my child? Yes, it is the truth. The only one guilty is this doctor. Today, I am truly regretful that I was born a princess. I should have been born in a hut. This is where real moral values exist among the poor, not in a palace.
Forgive me, my child. We are the real ones to blame. Soldiers, arrest the doctor and throw him into the dungeon. I ask for your mercy, my king. I was blinded by greed. Mercy!
The doctor gets arrested.
Mother, father, the maid will no longer live here in this hut. She will live in the palace with us, just like a family member. As you wish, my dear daughter. It will allow us to express our repentance as well.
The 4 of them lived happily in the palace for a long time to come. The end.
The Lost Fairy. This is a story about true love and sacrifice. Stephen, who was the prince of a vast kingdom, was riding on his horse in the jungle. He was engrossed in enjoying the scenery when he heard a girl crying out in pain. He jumped off his horse and walked towards the source of the sound. He found a beautiful girl sitting near the bushes, who was possibly wounded. Who are you? And are you in pain?
I do remember my name. It's Daisy. But I don't remember how I got here. A scary-looking face attacked me. But I don't remember anything that happened after that. Right now, I can't even move. Please help me.
Oh dear, you have been wounded badly. But please don't worry. My name is Stephen. I can assist you and take you to my palace. The royal physician will take good care of you. Prince Stephen very gently lifted Daisy in his arms. They set off towards the palace on his horse. At the palace, the prince summoned the royal physician. The physician arrived shortly and started his treatment.
Ouch! Oh!
I am aware that you are still suffering. Give it some time for the physician's medicines to work. You will feel at ease soon. His potions are bitter but effective. Close your eyes and gulp it up, Daisy's treatment continued, and she started recovering. She could now walk around the palace. No one was allowed in her chamber except the royal family, the physician, and her attendants. The prince would stop by many times a day to check on her.
Respected Prince, you have been so kind to take such good care of me. I feel I'm on the mend now. I should plan my return back home. But for the life of me, I don't know where home is.
Daisy, don't get ahead of yourself. I need to make sure you recover completely. Till the time you don't fully regain your lost memory, consider yourself to be our royal guest. I have planned everything to keep you entertained. Stephen and Daisy became well acquainted with each other, and with time, their hearts grew fond of the other two. A tiny seed of love had already blossomed into a flowering tree. Whenever she would be alone, Daisy would keep glancing at the door in anticipation of Stephen's arrival.
Stephen, I'm beginning to feel I should stay back here forever. I will never find a true companion like you anywhere. I cannot fathom leaving you.
Daisy, who's asking you to leave? Now I feel we must spend the rest of our lives together.
I want that as well. Stephen, when you're away from me, my heart anticipates your return as soon as possible. My eyes long to see you again. Your face is always on my mind.
Daisy, I'm in the same boat. Wherever I go, I feel out of place. Then I find myself wanting to return to you again and again. I've never experienced this kind of intense attraction to anyone before. One night, a flying object landed near the palace. Two fairies stepped out of it. Prince Stephen was stunned to watch them. The two fairies flew up straight to Daisy's chamber.
Daisy, come with us. We have come to take you back. Our flying vehicle is right outside.
Who are you? Where do you want to take me in this flying vehicle of yours?
Daisy, what kind of talk is this? We have come to take you back to Fairyland. You are a fairy like us. You can't stay on Earth forever. Oh no, I can't see your magic pearl on your neck anymore. Where did you lose it? See, that's why you can't remember anything. We can request the Fairy Queen to bring your memory back again.
The fairy used her magical powers to contact the Fairy Queen. The Fairy Queen received her request and used her powers to remotely access and restore Daisy's lost memory.
Prince Stephen, I realize I'm a fairy. I will have to go back home to Fairyland. After I landed on Earth, I was alone in the jungle where you found me. A sorceress attacked me to steal my magic pearl. I don't seem to have any powers that fairies possess. You rescued me. You were my anchor in times of need. For that, I will forever be indebted to you. Please forgive me, but I will need to return home right now.
Can I accompany you to Fairyland?
No, dear prince. Humans are not allowed to enter Fairyland. You are aware that I want to be with you, but my hands are tied because I have to follow the rules of Fairyland. I will try my best to come back and see you again. But if I can't, please think of this as our last meeting. My beloved, please forgive me.
Daisy, I will always remember every precious moment of happiness spent with you. At that moment, Daisy's wings sprouted out again, and she transformed completely into a fairy. She, along with the other fairies, made their way to the flying vehicle. She would turn around and keep glancing at Prince Stephen. The flying vehicle took off, leaving Stephen heartbroken. Daisy landed in Fairyland.
My queen, I'm madly in love with Prince Stephen. I cannot imagine a life without him. I plead to you, please let me go back to him forever.
Daisy, what are you trying to do? Fairies and humans can't have any relations with each other. If you break our rules, you will have to bear the consequences of your actions.
I'm willing to bear all consequences. Please allow me to go back to Earth forever.
Get out of my sight! Otherwise, I will curse you, making you incapable of going anywhere.
Scared of the Queen's wrath, Daisy exited the room. On the other side, Prince Stephen would keep glancing at the sky, waiting for Daisy to return. He was so consumed by her thoughts that it began to affect his sanity. One of the fairies informed the Fairy Queen about this.
My queen, both Prince Stephen and Daisy are in a very delicate state. Their love seems to be pure and true. They are both willing to sacrifice anything for their love. Please give this some thought.
Now I'm convinced that Stephen and Daisy truly do love each other. I have no choice but to accept it. Go, fetch Daisy, and bring her to me.
Daisy ran and fell at the Fairy Queen's feet.
Daisy, true love wins! You are now free! Go to Earth and reclaim your true love!
Stephen was waiting outside the palace for Daisy. The flying vehicle appeared and landed right in front of him. Come to me, my darling princess. Our sacrifice has not been in vain.
The Creator has orchestrated our divine union. We have won the reward for our true love and sacrifice.
Daisy rushed into Stephen's arms and embraced him. True love won yet again. The two were joined in holy matrimony, their lives enriched with happiness.
The Swan Lake. This story begins a long time ago, when Princess Elizabeth was meeting suitors to find a groom for marriage. Princes from all over the world assembled there to meet and impress her. King Eric was one of the suitors. He wasn't exactly good looking. Princess Elizabeth goes around the room chatting with her suitors and forming her opinions. When she reaches Eric, she looks at him and makes a face to express her disappointment. Eric is hurt and offended. He feels insulted and in a fit of rage curses her.
Princess Elizabeth, are you so proud of your beauty that you actually made a face at me because I don't meet your standards? I curse you. From now on, you won't stay a princess anymore. You will be transformed into a swan.
Elizabeth and her father are very worried after hearing these words. They ask for Eric's forgiveness. Prince Eric, I have erred. Please grant me mercy for my mistake.
Prince, please forgive her. She is very young and immature. That's why the insolence. I urge you, please take back your words. My daughter's life will be ruined.
Prince Eric begins to calm down.
Forgive me, King. Unfortunately, I cannot take the curse back, but I can provide you with the solution to release her from the curse. If a man falls in love with your daughter while she is still in the form of a swan, the curse can be broken. Another thing, it's very important that the man who falls in love with her must be completely unaware of the curse. Otherwise, it won't work.
As soon as he completes his sentence, Princess Elizabeth transforms into a swan. She is then transported to a lake on the outskirts of the kingdom. Many years pass, and the princess keeps waiting for someone to love her in this form. People come to the lake, but they leave after admiring the scenery and the swan.
So many years have passed. I'm beginning to lose hope that I could ever be released from this curse. Maybe I deserve living like this for the rest of my life. Maybe this is my repentance.
That evening, a young traveler named James comes to sit by the lake.
It was so noisy back in the town. Here, everything is so quiet and tranquil. I wish I could live here forever.
James was a middle-class man without a family. He felt at peace sitting next to the lake. He rests there for a while. Then he hears a voice.
How are you doing?
Is the voice coming from the middle of the lake? Maybe my ears are ringing.
No, your ears are fine. Look at the lake. It's me, a swan.
Is that so? I didn't know swans could talk. How is this possible?
It is possible. I can talk, and I live right here at the lake. This is my lake. I heard you say you feel at peace here. You can come here whenever your heart desires.
Thank you for allowing me to. I have experienced bliss here. I really don't feel like leaving.
My name is Elizabeth. What's yours?
My name is James. Your name sounds like that of a princess.
My father chose that name for me. And yes, he did treat me like a princess. Come with me. I'll give you a tour of the lake and show you all the pretty flowers.
Elizabeth shows James around. She brings flowers to him, including a lotus.
Wow, Elizabeth, I've never seen a prettier sight. I loved talking to and spending time with you.
Same here, James. Please do come again. I get lonely here as well. I'm the only swan here. I will eagerly await your return.
I know how it feels to live alone. I'll come again tomorrow.
A new ray of hope lights up the swan's heart. She looks forward to meeting him again. His polite nature and kind words impress her. The next day, James comes back at the same time. She is thrilled to see him again.
James, I've been waiting for you. You're just on time. The sun is about to set soon, and it's a beautiful sight from the lake.
I've been looking forward to coming back here. I came as soon as I finished my work. You're right. It is a beautiful sight.
They watch the sunset together. James seems very happy.
Elizabeth, you are right. This is an unforgettable sight. I'll come here every day to watch it with you.
Yes, James, it is unforgettable. But such beauty is rarely enjoyed when one is alone.
I can relate to your sadness, Elizabeth, but please don't consider yourself alone. I'm here with you. I will be there for you no matter what.
On hearing James say these words, Elizabeth sheds tears of joy. She finally understands what it feels to be loved. Elizabeth had grown very fond of James. She also realized that a kind heart is more precious than beauty, wealth, or status. What mattered most was a good and sincere nature. James had also grown fond of Elizabeth, but he would question himself incessantly. Would a swan understand and accept his love? One day, James doesn't turn up at the lake. Elizabeth grows anxious and keeps worrying about his well-being. She is unable to sleep at night.
Why didn't James come today? Could he be in trouble? Dear Lord, please keep him safe.
The next day, James comes to the lake in the afternoon, much earlier than usual. On seeing him there, Elizabeth says,
James, where were you yesterday? You never informed me you were not going to be coming. I was so worried about you. Is everything okay? In the future, don't disappear like that without telling me, please. Do you have any idea how worried I was?
Oh, no, please forgive me, Elizabeth. I had to travel for work. I have just returned in the morning, I promise. I won't go anywhere without telling you first. This won't happen again. My intention was not to get you worried.
James was secretly thrilled that Elizabeth was so worried about him. Apart from his mother, no one had really cared for him like that. The respect and love he had felt for her before grew larger. He made up his mind to confess his feelings to her. He would deal with the repercussions later.
Elizabeth, I have something to say.
Tell me, James. What is it?
I've fallen in love with you. My heart says it always wants to stay next to you. When I wake up in the morning, I look forward to the moment I can come here and be with you.
As soon as James utters these words, the swan gets transformed back into the beautiful princess. James is astounded, and he asks her,
Elizabeth, how did you turn into a human? Are you a real princess?
Yes, my dear James. Some years ago, I had insulted a prince over his looks, and he had cursed me. I was to live the life of a swan till someone truly loved me, regardless of my form. I had come to terms with the fact that I would die a swan. But your true love has now released me from the curse.
If you're really a princess, how will you spend your life with an ordinary man like me?
Only you have taught me the real meaning of love. No king or prince could compare to an ordinary man who is capable of loving a swan. A man's real wealth is his nature, not his status. And I have never met anyone as wealthy as you. I want to marry you, James. I want to make you my life partner. Will you marry me?
Yes, Elizabeth. I love you too. I can't even imagine a life without you.
James and Elizabeth get married. James becomes the heir to the throne as well. They live a happy and peaceful life together. The end. The Toothless Beast. This story is from ancient times, when humans did not trust dogs and only relied on them for security purposes. Then, when the dog gets older, they have no use for it, and man leaves them alone in the jungle to fend for themselves. A farmer once had a faithful dog called Leonardo, who had grown old and lost all his teeth, so that he could no longer hold on to anything. One day, the farmer was standing with his wife at the front door of their house and said,
Tomorrow I plan on taking old Leonardo out into the jungle, because he's no longer of any use.
His wife, who felt pity for the faithful beast, answered, He has served us so long and been so faithful that I think we should give him what he's earned.
What? You're not very smart. He doesn't have a tooth left in his mouth, so there's not a thief in the world who would be afraid of him. So now he can leave. He has served us well, and for that he has good food to eat.
The poor dog, who was lying stretched out in the sun not far off, had heard everything and was sorry that tomorrow was to be his last day. He had a good friend, the wolf, and he crept out in the evening into the forest to him and complained of the fate that awaited him. Said the wolf,
Be of good cheer. I will help you out of your trouble. I have thought of something. Tomorrow, early in the morning, your master is going with his wife to make hay, and they will take their little child with them, for no one will be left behind in the house. During work time, the parents will need to lay the child under the hedge in the shade. You lay yourself there too, just as if you were going to guard the little one. Then I will come out of the woods and carry off the child. You must rush swiftly after me as though you were going to take the child away from me. I'll give you back the child, and you will take it back to its parents, who will think that you have saved it, and will be far too grateful to do you any harm. Rather, you will be in high favor, and they will never let you be in need of anything again.
The plan pleased the dog, and it was carried out just as it was arranged. The father screamed when he saw the wolf running across the field with his child. But when old Leonardo brought the little one back, he was full of joy, and he pet him and said,
Not a hair of yours shall be harmed. You shall eat of my food freely as long as you live.
And to his wife he said,
Go home at once and make old Leonardo some bread sop that he will not have to bite, and bring the pillow out of my bed, and I will give him that to lay upon.
From that day on, old Leonardo was as well off as he could ever wish to be. Soon afterward, the wolf visited him and was pleased that everything had succeeded so well.
For payment of the favor I did for you, you will turn a blind eye. When I have the chance, I carry off one of your master's fat sheep.
Don't count on it. I will remain true to my master. I cannot agree to that.
The wolf thought that the old dog must have been joking about not agreeing with him. So, one night, he came creeping about in the night and was going to take away the sheep. But the farmer, to whom the faithful Leonardo had told the wolf's plan, caught him and dressed his hide soundly with the flail. The wolf had to back off, but he cried out to the dog,
Just you wait, you scoundrel! You shall pay for this!
The next morning, the wolf sent the wild boar to challenge the dog to come out into the forest so that they might settle the so-called agreement that the wolf thought was broken. Old Leonardo could find no one to stand by him, but a cat with only 3 legs. As they went out together, the poor cat limped along, and at the same time stretched out her tail into the air in pain. The wolf and his friend were already at the spot appointed, but when they saw their enemy coming, they thought that he was bringing a sword with him, for they mistook the outstretched tail of the cat for a sword. And when the poor cat hopped on its 3 legs, they could only think every time that it was picking up a stone to throw at them. So they were both afraid. The wild boar crept into the underbrush, and the wolf jumped up a tree. The dog and the cat, when they came up, wondered why there was no one to be seen. The wild boar, however, had not been able to hide altogether, and one of his ears was still visible. While the cat was looking cautiously about, the boar wiggled his ear. The cat, who thought it was a mouse moving, jumped upon it and bit it hard. The boar made a fearful noise and ran away, crying out,
Spare me, please! Please, the wolf is up in the tree!
The dog and the cat looked up and saw the embarrassed wolf, who was ashamed of having shown himself to be afraid, and he made friends again with the old dog. Then the 3 of them lived happily ever after, till the day when Leonardo passed away, on the loving laps of the farmer and his wife. The end.
Nothing comes from nothing. A long time ago, there was a king by the name of Vishnu Devrai. He had a son named Viendra. The king always wanted to ensure that the citizens in his kingdom were satisfied and happy. Their well-being was of utmost importance to him. For the purpose of knowing their smallest woes, he was not just dependent on his informers. The king, along with his minister, used to disguise himself and tour the kingdom. This used to provide him an opportunity to mingle with all sorts of the people in the kingdom and become aware of their personal struggles. One day, the king was curious to know how his citizens had been faring lately. He decided to consult his minister on the topic.
It's been a while since I toured my kingdom in disguise. I would like to know if my people are satisfied and at ease. It's making me curious to know if there's anything bothering them. If there is something, what is it? And how can I resolve it to make things better for them? My king, your curiosity is justified. You should definitely go for a tour. However, I have a suggestion. I think this time Prince Viendra should accompany you. He has come of age. He needs to be acquainted with the duties of a king who is so dedicated to his people.
You could mentor him for his role since he's going to be our future king. He should be aware of the responsibilities of a fair king. You are absolutely right, Minister. This time when I go out in disguise, Prince Viendra shall accompany me instead of you. The next day, the king discussed the idea with his son, Virendra, and said, Dear son, I've called you here to discuss something important. You have come of age and must now learn about your duties. I've been going out and mingling with the locals in disguise. This activity is undertaken to unearth the real issues faced by our people. It's time to do this once again, but this time, I'm keen to take you with me instead of the minister.
That's an excellent idea, Father. It will be an interesting experience for me. To meet your people not as a prince, but as an ordinary man. Now that is something else.
The king and his son, disguised as farmers, set off on their tour away from the capital. They reached a village named Rampur. It was winter, and they halted for the night near a bonfire lit by some villagers. The king and the prince huddled around the fire along with the other villagers. The villagers thought them to be travelers, so they exchanged pleasantries with them. The villagers soon forgot about them and started talking amongst themselves. The villagers were discussing the poor output of crops that had troubled them for the last 3 years.
Look, my friend, have you forgotten how good our yield was 3 years ago? We used to keep what we required and the rest was sent off to the capital city to be sold at profitable rates. But the last 2 to 3 years have been a nightmare. We are leading a hand-to-mouth existence. How do we make money if we have nothing to send to the capital? What can we possibly do if we are starving ourselves?
The king had decided to come to Rampur mainly to figure out what was going wrong with the supply to the capital. One of the members in this group was a young man who had been keenly listening to this conversation. He decided to speak up and express his opinion. He said,
If the king can take on the responsibility of feeding the farmers and their families, they can then fully concentrate on the task of producing a good yield. Instead of focusing on their daily expenses, the farmers can focus on increasing the supply to even 4 times than what it is supposed to be.
The villagers dismissed his suggestion in jest, but the king seemed to be impressed by this idea. When they were spending the night at a local inn, the king asked his son, My son, what is your take on what the farmers have been complaining about? I would like to hear your opinion.
Father, I believe if someone gets something for free without doing any work in return, instead of being motivated, they will just become complacent. Nothing comes from nothing.
King Vishnu Dev Rai kept on thinking about what the farmers and the prince had said. He had a restless night trying to come up with a decision. The next day, they headed back to the capital. The king called for a meeting with the minister.
Minister, I'm in a strange dilemma. My public seems to think that I should bear the costs of their daily expenses for some time. That way, instead of focusing on meeting their family's daily requirements, they can focus on bettering the crop output. But our prince seems to believe that by doing this, the public will take things for granted and cease to work at all. What is your opinion?
My king, I agree with the prince. History has shown that whenever we have showered the people with free luxuries, they have become idle and complacent.
However, how can I not sympathize with the hardships they are facing? I have decided the royal treasury will foot the costs for their daily expenses, at least for a few days. And some days we will come to know if it makes them motivated or just lazy.
An announcement was made informing about the opening of a free kitchen in Rampur. All meals would be provided free of cost to the villagers. In return, the farmers were expected to be motivated and to work their fields without any worries. The surplus crops were to be sent to the capital. They would be paid fairly and handsomely for their efforts. After this announcement, the minister tried to convince the king otherwise. Forgive me for expressing my opinion, but I still think it would have been better if the villagers had been provided with modern and improved agricultural tools, good manure, and seeds that generate a higher yield. They could have been introduced to the newer and more efficient farming techniques. The king had made up his mind and paid no heed to the minister's advice. What do you mean? Are you questioning my intelligence and authority? Do you think I don't care for my people? I'm capable of making my own decisions. I have full faith that this will work out for the best. As per the king's orders, a free kitchen was opened for the people of Rampur. They received tasty and healthy meals every day. After filling up their stomachs, they would set off to work. A few days later, King Vishnu Dev Rai asked for a report on the progress made. Minister, gather your officers so that we can head to Rampur for assessment. I will personally oversee the fields. I'm sure the villagers have been working very hard and the crops must be in full bloom. If a man gets free food, he will get demotivated and lose all interest in doing any work. Look around you. Look at everyone relaxing without any worries. They don't have a care in the world. That's why they are idling their time away. They are not interested in production of crops anymore. King Vishnu Dev Rai realized his grand plan was flawed and had failed. He immediately ordered the closure of the free kitchen. Instead, as per the minister's advice, the villagers were provided with the latest agricultural tools, manure, and high-yielding seeds. By the next year, the output of crops in Rampur had increased by 4 times the earlier number. The villagers were now able to sell more output too by sending the surplus to the capital. The end.